I'm happy to tell you about a friend of mine, a Redemptorist priest and a canonized saint. He came from peasant roots, yet associated with the elite of his time. He dodged the secret police of several European regimes and endured exile for his values. Let me introduce you to my friend and confrere, St. Clement Mary Hofbauer. Our saint was born on December 26, 1751, in the village of Tasvitz, now in the Czech Republic, some 60 miles north of Vienna, the 9th of 12 children. From his youngest days, he felt a special relationship with God and dreamed of becoming a priest. Coming from a poor family, however, Clement had little chance to enter a seminary and join a religious order. Instead, at the age of 16, he became a baker's apprentice. At the age of 29, Clement could finally enter the University of Vienna. In 1784, he traveled to Rome in the company of his best friend, Thaddeus Hubel. On reaching Rome, Clement and Thaddeus resolved to go to Mass at the first church whose bells they heard the following morning. The Angelus led them to San Giuliano, a church served by the Redemptorists. The two seminarians were accepted into the novitiate, and on the feast of St. Joseph, March 19, 1785, Clement Hofbauer and Thaddeus Hubel were professed by vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. Now, a few months after their ordination, Clement and Thaddeus were summoned by the Superior General and told to return to their homeland across the Alps in order to establish the Redemptorist congregation in Northern Europe. It was a difficult and unusual assignment for two men so recently ordained. It was February of 1787 when they reached Warsaw. The poor neighborhoods were slums where people lived in hovels and the church was largely absent. For the next 20 years, Clement and his small band of Redemptorist priests and brothers shared in the suffering of the people of Poland, enduring with them 3 partitions of the country and an almost constant state of war. Clement quickly responded to one of the most urgent needs of Warsaw and opened an orphanage for homeless boys who roamed the streets of that city. To keep the boys fed and clothed, he had to beg constantly. Once he went begging to a local pub. When Clement asked for a donation, one of the patrons scornfully spat beer into his face. Wiping off the beer, he responded, "That was for me. Now what do you have for my boys?" The men in the bar were so astounded by the Christ-like response that they gave him more than 100 silver coins. Clement and his companions were given pastoral charge of St. Benno's Church and told to work for the German-speaking people of Warsaw. But soon they learned Polish in order to expand their apostolate to the people who lived in the neighborhood. When they first opened their church, they preached to empty pews. But in time, St. Benno's became a thriving center of the Catholic Church in Warsaw. Reception of Holy Communion jumped from 2,000 in 1787 to over 100,000 by the year 1800. Political pressure and religious prejudice finally put an end to the Redemptorist mission in Warsaw. The decree of expulsion was signed on June 9, 1808. 11 days later, the Church of St. Benno's was closed. The 40 Redemptorists serving there were taken off to prison. They lived there for 4 weeks and then were ordered to return to their own countries. In September 1808, after being exiled from Poland, Clement reached Vienna. In the first decades of the 19th century, Vienna was a major European cultural center. Clement enjoyed spending time with students and intellectuals who came to his quarters to talk, share a meal, or get advice. As a result of his friendship, many artists and intellectuals were received into the church. In Vienna, Hofbauer again found himself under attack. First, he was prohibited from preaching. Then he was threatened with exile because he had been communicating with his superior general in Rome. The emperor, however, learned of the real good that Clement was accomplishing and refused to sign the expulsion order. Instead, the emperor authorized him to open a community of Redemptorists in Vienna. Quickly, the plans were made. A church was selected and refurbished to become the first Redemptorist foundation in Austria. It was to be started without Clement, however. He took sick in early March 1820 and died on March 15th of that year. Clement Hofbauer was canonized a saint of the Catholic Church on May 20th, 1909. In 1914, Pope Pius X gave him the title of Apostle and Patron of Vienna. What made Clement Hofbauer a saint? He performed no miracles to dazzle us, received no visions or ecstasies to impress us. He certainly had faults, a quick temper and a German stubbornness, as well as a tendency to be gruff. Yet if we could have spent a few hours in his presence, we would have found him to be a man of unusually strong faith, a man of extraordinary calm and peace, a man who could work tirelessly for people. Simplicity was the chief characteristic of his sanctity. He led a life of single-hearted service of God and tried to draw others to serve him. In his faithful pursuit of holiness, St. Clement can be a model for all of us. May God bless you, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.